Yeah,
Well,
like
welcome
walking
to
into a
the welcome, brother. Welcome to the Ordinary People Do Extraordinary Things podcast. I'm your host, Michael Isguera, founder of MB Learning, and today we've got a very special guest. His name is Rex Masesar. He's a insurance broker. He's a financial advisor, a real estate investor, and he's a good friend of mine, public speaker as well. Spoke at our conference there. So welcome, Rex. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Awesome. You know what? I apologize. I was kind of just like going off the top of my head there, but please tell us a little bit more about yourself if I missed anything in your intro there.
Okay. I am born and raised in Winnipeg. I'm married to a wonderful wife, Bianca, and having a great time partnering with you, Mike, and just doing more of these. And in terms of my career, my professional development, like you mentioned, like the insurance. For me, I want to be a solution for anyone in regards to insurance, investing wise, financial wellness wise. Like it's just a matter of what you want to accomplish. That's what I hope to provide to those watching today. Is what what can I do to help you? Like I said earlier, cut through the noise, cut through the fat, and say, okay, here's the deal with what you need to do for your family solutions, for your business solutions. If you're a startup, what are the things to consider? Because, like I said, there's a lot of noise out there. I mean, we were talking about that earlier in our warm-up call, where we have so much access to information, but has it truly made us wiser? And it's, I mean, here's the info dump, but what are the right questions? So
absolutely.
That's what I hope to achieve in this. Whether people want to talk about insurance, finances, real estate investing, whatever anyone wants to talk about, I'm down.
Awesome. And if you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. You could drop them in the chat as well, wherever it is that you want to put them. I think Instagram will allow up to 4 people as well, so we can also bring you up on the live if you want to join the live later as well. But thank you for that, Rex. And curious, like what led you down the path to the path that you're on right now? Why do you do what you do?
I will remember a time where my mom would talk to me about saving money, budgeting. And as I grew up, I always kept that in my mind. I thought about when I started my first job delivering papers, like flyers. And I remember saving up the money and I bought one of those game watches. And now as I've aged, of course, I started to realize, okay, where do I really want to put my time and effort? Mm-hmm. So, it's just a matter of what I've learned over time is that money, and we've had that discussion, money is just a transference of energy. It's a piece of paper. And in today's society now, it's a number on a phone. It's virtual. Like it's not even tangible anymore. So I really want people to consider that when they think about what is money actually doing for you. Mm-hmm. How do you want to take that resource that you've put so much time and effort into towards your goals?
Yeah, no, it's a good point. Like what is money? Like, and it's something that we don't really think about until we actually think about it. Like what is money? Like what is, if I'm not prepared, I don't have, but if I had currency, let's say I had $100 bill, what is that? What is that? $100 could be, a lot of money to someone, but it could also be not so much money to someone. It's just a piece of paper. So there's a term that I learned from you, financial wellness. And I hear a lot about financial literacy a lot. But could you tell me what's the difference between financial wellness and financial literacy?
financial wellness, I can't exactly, it's hard to define because it's a feeling. Like when you feel spiritually healthy, physically healthy, you know it's because you've been meditating more, journaling more for spiritual wellness. For physical health, it's because you've been eating better, you've been working out more, you've been more active in a sport that you enjoy. So it's a feeling. When it comes to financial wellness, that's when you take a look at your finances, your state of your lifestyle, and even to a I would argue a secondary degree where you look at your finances and you're all good. Whether you're in debt or whether you have a boatload of money, because being in this, I've been in the industry for 10 years now. I've met people with lots of money who are far more well off than me, unhappy. I've met people who are just as, not as well off as me, but they're happy too. I've met people that I would say that are in my brackets of income and savings and assets and whatever. And, and it's a 50-50. And I'm trying to figure out how can I deliver something of value to help them develop their wellness, because I'm developing it myself as well. But I really enjoy the stewardship practice of it, because you can have fun with it. Like finance is boring, man. Insurance is boring. Like who wakes up and says, "Oh, I'm gonna look at my finances today. Oh, I'm gonna buy insurance today." No one. Like, I mean, it's more like, "Oh, I gotta buy insurance because my auto back is up, or my home insurance is renewing, or I just something happened to a family member and I should really consider life insurance." That's what makes people think of insurance. So.
Yeah, for sure. You do. And first off, like, I want to apologize because I didn't really prepare you with any questions. So some of these questions might be just kind of like out of left field and stuff like that. But I really just kind of wanted to have this like organic conversation with you. But you mentioned some comparisons like of like financial wellness to like spiritual wellness, which is also a term that I don't think is spoken about a lot. But we hear about like physical wellness, like physical health and wellness. I think we're all familiar with that. And then also the term of like mental wellness is starting to become more common. So I guess what inspired you or led you down that path of like thinking about financial wellness in that way, and even like spiritual wellness in that way?
I remember when I would speak with like colleagues of mine in the industry, and we would go through scripts of like how to do. So the initial, whenever we do an initial assessment, we call it the fact find. It's like, what is there an actual problem that we can solve for this prospect? One of the questions that was a game changer for me, almost a paradigm shift. I would say the paradigm shift for me is, how do you feel about your finances? How do you feel about your future, of your financial plan? How do you feel? And I'm like, it captured me. And because no one asks that, it was a very, and I met with a mentor when I went on my trip earlier, and he said, there's an art and a science to what we do. And that's the beauty of being a person. We can take whatever knowledge, resource, tools we have and create an art. We're creators. And there's a science to it, so that we can carefully craft it and use the tools, get better tools, create better tools, so that we can craft our art, whether it's creating more coaching material, or personal development, or financial wellness, or insurance, or being a tradesman. It's the art and the science. So that's where when they started saying, how do you feel, and it's like, that's good. And I started using that more, and I can capture people more, and then people start to share more with you, do more with you, and before it gets to the point where they're telling you their whole life story. It's like, okay, well, let's dial it back and figure out, well, what are we actually doing here? Right? Are we just shooting the shit, or are we actually, can I actually help you? So we can go for a beer, or something, or go for a cup of coffee. But like, what, like, tell me how you feel and what we can do, because there's. We also have so much time when it comes to the wellness, because we got to enjoy what we got while we got it.
Yeah.
So, and when it comes to, once again, to the wellness part, and here's where the financial literacy comes into play, is how, with your timeline, if you were to take the average survival rate for people, I remember seeing one study that said late 80s, early 90s with technology, it's going higher and higher and blah, blah, blah. Scientific measurements are always like a picture. We're taking a picture of the time right now, off of assumptions right now. So that's one thing that people need to understand about scientific illustrations and measurements. The pendulum is always shifting, and that picture, it depends on where it's shifting, when, and why. Anyways, time. You have to measure it in time, because that's the number one resource that we can never get back. You can always make money back. Whether you grind it out, stack a whole bunch of money, and make millions and billions of dollars, some people crash on that feet. And people are willing to work and grind it out again. The people that inspire me are the ones who've gone bankrupt and kept going. And when they come back so much harder, so much stronger, because now they have that knowledge. Now they have those tools. And the ones that really inspire me are the ones like this. Just drop me in a field somewhere, and I'm like, okay. Grant Cardone did that, where he had a show where he had to raise capital and build and start from nothing. And I was like, wow, I don't think, there was a part of me that was like, I don't think that's scripted. I think there's definitely measures in place that they put to keep him safe, because he's a figure. But I was like, there's a lot of reality to that. He definitely walked that walk, and he's a guy. There's people who talk the talk. He'll talk the talk and walk the walk. Being Filipino, he's kind of mayabang.
Okay.
but I like him. He's got that. He's got that grit. So.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I'm curious. There's so much that I want to touch on there, just based on what you shared there. So I'm trying to think of where to go. But how about this? Like when you were talking about that story of like how it inspires you when somebody can go bankrupt and then somehow find a way to bounce back. I guess, is there, what do you think is that one thing that, like, or maybe it's a couple of things that allows them to kind of like persevere through and to really bounce back from something like that? Because, like, what do you think it is?
It's not a question of what I think it is. It's what I know it is. It's willpower. How bad do you want it? You can get knocked down a million times and get back up one. That last time is your last time, but it's you can't. It's hard, and like I shared this on my stories. Like Mike Tyson, he's like, it's hard to keep a guy down who doesn't want to lose, no matter what. And the video was the Tyson Fury fight, where Tyson Fury, I forgot the other guy's name, he knocked him out, and he did a straight up Undertaker. Like, he got up. You know what I mean, right?
Like he sat up with his eyes rolled up.
Well, maybe not that theatrical, but he was knocked out, and we were watching it. And we're like, "Oh, he's done." And he got up. We're like, "Holy smokes!" Yeah. It's like this is not wrestling. This is boxing.
Yeah.
And it's like he got up and he won.
Wow.
And that's what I related back to. It's like, it's willpower. It's like a person who doesn't want to quit is not gonna quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, and I'm a big advocate for that as well. It's like, and it's so weird because I've been hearing that reference a lot. I was in the past like 48 hours, just that whole concept of like getting knocked down and then getting back up again. And it's like, you can relate that to anything. Like, you gave a great boxing example, and that's probably one of that is a great example, because like people do get knocked down. can they get back up, right? But relate that to other areas in your life. Can you get knocked down and can you get back up? Like, what is your relationship with mistakes? What is your relationship with failures? Like, you are going to get knocked down. Like, that is part of the process, right? If you're going to get in the ring, if you're going to fight, you will get knocked down at some point in time. But can you get back up? That's the question, right?
And you're using very particular words. Is can you get back up? There's a lot of people who can, but do you want to? How do you feel about your ability to get up? Because we live in a time where there's so much resources. We're doing good. And, I won't go too much into the whole COVID and the whole mandates and government overreach, whatnot, but there comes a time where you've got to draw your line in the sand, where people have come to the table and have done what they can. And once we've done what we can, what do we really want to do? What are we really trying to accomplish as an individual, as a family, as a business, as a community, as a society? What do we really, really want? And so the question back to you is, if they can, do they want to? That's the next question that I would ask is, do you want to? Because someone gets knocked down, it's like, I'm tired. But I think of another quote that has a wolf in the background, and I love wolves. And it says, rest if you must, but do not quit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I absolutely love that. Like that, the people that are successful because they never quit. They just kept going. And appreciate what you said there around like rest if you must. Like, yeah, you can rest. Don't stop. Don't quit. Right. Take a break if you need to, but don't quit. Right. So yeah, appreciate that. Sorry about that. Were you going to say something?
No. That's all good. I opened the drapes and and there's a lot of traffic on my street, so it's a nice visual break. Because we both have glasses, and I can only stare at the screen so often. So trying to get that natural sun, but that's great. It's great weather for October, eh?
Yeah, absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Like it's so weird because I remember I think it was two years ago. There was snow in Winnipeg, and I was just like, oh my god! Like around this time, around Canadian Thanksgiving. So glad it's not snowing.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. There was something that I wanted to touch on just around that whole concept of getting knocked down, because you asked like, I asked, can they get up? And then you asked, do they want to get up? And I think that ties into what you originally shared there around willpower, right? Like, do they, like, can they get up? I mean, like you can do anything, right?
It's circumstantial. Yeah. Like, well, did the guy get the wind knocked out, and like physically and health wise, should you? Because there's people who will camp it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people who will be like mankind. Yeah. And they'll just push themselves to a physical limit. It's like, I don't think you should do that. Yeah. It's like, but they're like, I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm just saying, that's saying my piece, because it's like, you're pushing it, man.
Yeah. So then I wonder then, like, what is the difference? Like, is there a moment where somebody should not get up at some point in time? Or like, what do you think?
I could speak from my perspective, but I can't talk to people about what they want for themselves. Like, they can push themselves as much as they want. Like, I've met people who are soldiers, and they'll push themselves to lengths that physically and mentally inspire me. But it's like, sometimes they're fighting wars that don't need to be fought. And it comes to a matter of picking your battles. I've met businessmen and businesswomen and entrepreneurial types who are like, it's like, you need to spend more time with your family, kind of deal, and take a vacation. Because that willpower it's addictive. One, success is addictive, but you got to dial it back to, what do you want? How do you feel about what you want? Like, do you really want $1 million in the bank account? What are you going to do with that? I mean, and I have this conversation with some people of mine who are like in politics and whatnot, and I 100% agree with this. Is that once people reach a certain point of becoming billionaires, like someone should give them a certificate saying, "Okay, you've conquered capitalism. Now be a bit more socialist," and vice versa. You're an advocate for social justice, but let's bridge the gap here, because there's people here, man. Like it's not a competition. There's points of this where it's not a game. And you asked the question about when should people stop pushing, is like when they start to when the ego grows larger than, it's not even a game, when the ego grows larger than the need or the want.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've hit the needs. You're able to put a roof over your head, food on the table, clothes on your back. You're able to conquer the game. But what are you actually trying to accomplish? Okay, now you're on the throne. What are you gonna do for your kingdom? Hmm. And if you're a pretender, you better step off, because there's better people who can be on that throne, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, no, thank you. And I kind of like tie that in, because you were kind of talking about, it was almost like you were talking about like greater life goals, like what are your goals at the end? And to me, I kind of relate that to your why, like what is your why? If your why is that strong and what you're doing is aligned with your why, then yeah, keep going, keep getting back up. But at the end of the day, if ego gets involved and, and other things get involved, then, maybe it is time to like take a rest. I have a question though, kind of like taking the conversation in a slightly, just a slight curve, let's just say. But a question around like financial, and I know that you probably can't give like financial advice or anything like that, but if somebody wanted to, let's say, improve either their financial situation or maybe even their financial wellness, maybe if we could go there, what is a tip that you could give to somebody to improve their financial wellness?
Take a pen and paper and prioritize your top 3 goals for the next 30 days. Mm-hmm. And commit to it. Mm-hmm. Take a pen and paper down, and it's like, I want to reduce my debt. I want to take my wife to a trip. I want to take my kids to Disneyland. What are your top 3 goals? What are your top 3 goals that require a more extensive financial commitment than just going paycheck to paycheck, or commission check to commission check, or whatever frequency your income resources are coming at? Okay, that your income is going to provide, it's going to put food on the table, clothes on your back, roof over your head. But now you got to commit to more. So what is it? What are your top 3 choices right now? And commit to it, and be like, can you commit to it?
Yeah.
And if you can, then do it. Take imperfect action, or go into analysis paralysis, but take action. Do something,
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And I'm a big advocate for writing down goals. So I appreciate that you said that you said that. And there is something to be said about taking an actual pen to paper and writing down your goals. I think it's 43% of people that actually write down their goals with pen and paper are 43% more likely to achieve their goals than somebody who doesn't write down their goals, right?
Being in the financial world, I remember, and of course it has that slant where it's 68 or 63% of people who work in an advisor accomplish their goals more than people who are not. But what about the people who aren't? What kind of tips and tricks can you give them? And once again, going back to the informational resources out there, it's has it made us wiser? It's we have libraries, we have books, and it's far more accessible than when I was a child. Mm-hmm. So it's a matter of, okay, I'll take it to the next step. Is who are the people who are where you want to be? So I take a look at my mentors. I take a look at my icons, the people who inspire me to be better versed in financial advice. Who are they're accredited, they're trusted, they have they have a following, they have content that relates to me and the people I want to serve. Yeah, I'm sorry, I went off there, but I hope I've answered your question.
Oh no, for sure, for sure you did. No, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Something that you mentioned earlier, just around, and it's so interesting because you were talking about like, what kind of led you down the path of thinking of the whole concept of financial wellness, and you were mentioning how like the I don't even know what those forms were called, but the questions that they were asking were talking about things like feelings, like how do you feel about this, which I find actually quite interesting because I don't normally associate like currency or money and things like that, finances, with like feeling. Like usually I'm thinking of, like when I think of finances, I'm thinking like hard facts, I'm thinking like numbers, right? So I'm curious. So like when you find out information like just based around like feeling, what are people's feelings about maybe their finances or whatever, like, or how they feel about like their financial situation as a whole. Like what do you do with that information?
What I do is,
Or maybe, sorry, maybe I could rephrase it in either what it is that you do, or how does it help you support them with their goals?
it gives me more directive. It gives me it enables me to focus more on what the actual objective is. Because once again, we're trying to acknowledge certain feelings and then make objective, measurable goals so that we can get them from A to B. So what do I do? Wow. I mean, give me an example. Like let's role play here. I mean, that's when. Give me a blank canvas, Mike.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I appreciate that. Well, I mean, because you kind of mentioned like you're trying to figure out kind of like their feelings on it based on oh shoot, now I lost the word there. Shoot, what is it? Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna let it go, and if it's meant to be, it'll come back. But yeah, so I mean, you like based on their feelings. That's what it was. Getting how they feel to get to the actual, I guess their actual goal. So when I hear that, it's like, okay, so are you saying that when people talk to you about their financial goals, are they not coming to you with like what their actual goals are with finances?
No, we usually like the ones that like the clients that I've developed more of a relationship with. We already have an idea of what their goals are. Like we've gone through the fact finding, the prospecting, the do you trust me kind of deal, and understand. And of course, being licensed, you have to be confidential in the material you do because we're talking finances. This is a lifestyle now.
Yeah.
Once again, it's to me, it's not a game anymore.
Yeah.
And at that point, so because some people have their goals. Some people do not. So I have to be able to pivot. Once I've established this person has goals, this person doesn't have goals, I think this person has goals and is perhaps wanting to see. They're coming to me because they obviously want to see what I have to offer. So it goes back to, once again, like a fact find, the needs analysis. Like what are we trying to accomplish here? And I go through a filtering system, I guess, is what I'll relate it to. And it's number one is there a pain point, a challenge, or a project where I can actually help you, where I can actually help you? Is this worth your time? Is this worth my time? And do you like me? Because if those three things are not accomplished, we got no business to do here.
Yeah.
So, and I know that's cool. I mean, there's tons of us in the industry, but I mean, and I can't be everyone's friend because at the end of the day, there's points where I have to hit my clients like right between the eyes and be like, we saved up this much money, we got you here, and I saw you pull up in a new car, and I remember your goal was to, reduce your debt. That's not reducing your debt. Oh, I bought it used. Okay, okay. Well, I got the new dealership things. There was a sale. I'm like, okay. So there was a sale. Something that was 30,000 is now marked down to 25. You still spent 25.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I was like, hey, it's your money. I'm just, I'm just, I'm just a navigator on your ship. Tell me where you want to go. Tell me where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's interesting, and like there's a lot of relatability to I guess what you and I do. Like, I support people with goals, but generally they're not always related to financial goals. It sounds like yours is really more focused on that. So curious, like, how do you, if somebody is kind of like in that state where they're saying one thing where it's like, oh well, you know what, I want to reduce my debt, but they're doing things like like, is it the term accruing debt? They're signing up for things. Maybe it's like an extra credit card, or they're getting like a new car or something like that. And so their actions are different than what they're telling you their goals are. How do you handle those situations like that, or what do you recommend to them?
What I will normally do is, because my desire and passion is to serve people on the insurance side. I like to think of it as the shield. How do I protect your fortress? Here's what I would recommend. Here's what we do. That's where I defer to my financial planning network. I have a list of people who are accredited licensed financial planners, both in the like stock and like people that I know and trust. And I would say, I think you should, I would really recommend going with this person, because what they'll do is they'll dive deeper into your financial plan and measure things and create all sorts of graphics and reference tools in regards to that, because that's the point where there's something deeper as to why they feel the need to buy a new car, and not actually be worried, because it's like, okay, you put yourself in more debt. Like, did you get a new job? Is there money coming in? Like, are you inheriting money? Did you sell some of your assets? And some of the times it's like, I know when they don't want to tell me, because some of them are embarrassed, and I get it. I do the same thing, but it's like, I need you to know I'm actually here to try and help you. And if you feel comfortable with this, that's the main thing that I need to know. But if you don't feel comfortable with this yet, then I think we need to dive deeper. And it's just like a doctor. It's like, I think you should see that specialist. And if you don't feel so great about the scientific aspect of it, then let's talk to a naturopath, or let's talk to, people who will give you measured, qualitative and quantitative reference tools to accomplish your financial, your health, your wealth goals, those spiritual, whatever it is. Because, and I always love what you share about measuring them, because that which could be measured to be achieved. And I remember that from the days when I wanted to learn more about engineering, but then I got caught in analysis paralysis, and it's like, what am I doing here? So
yeah. No, for sure. No, thank you for that. I appreciate that answer there. Something else that you like to do and talk about is like real estate investing, and like what inspired you, or what interests you about real estate investing?
I've always been interested in like land and building, because it's a person's home, it's a person's place of business, it's a school, it's a library. It's like, there's this piece of land, this real estate that you can develop and build your dreams on, and it's called real estate for a reason, because you can physically go up and touch it. With money and finance, you can't. It's like I said, it's a number in your phone, on your bank account, on a computer. There isn't like $1,000 as this. I mean, for some people it is, but it's real. In this home is where I feed my family. In this office is where I do my trade. In this workshop is where I craft tools. So I've always been interested in real estate, and I've always liked, of course, the financial freedom that comes with having that asset in your portfolio. And like being in real estate, I'm a steward to the residential tenancy board, to the act. Like I'm providing a resource for the people of Manitoba. And it's hard because some people don't understand it, some people do. And you really need to show your tenants and your people that I'm here to look after you. The wealth is not in the building or the dirt. It's in the people who cultivate that building, and for better or worse, the dirt. I mean, some places you can't really garden, but you can. But it's like, so being in insurance, I started off in group benefits, where it's health and dental for small to medium-sized companies. Like, you can have all the money and all the technology in the world, but if you don't have people, the right people, taking care of that business, you don't have nothing. And group benefits is something that helps attract and retain good employees, good staff. And that's where it's like, it's always about the people. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, we have so much technology and so much resources compared to where like our ancestors were, and even the generation before us. What are you doing with that? What are you actually trying to accomplish here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. So what's a tip that you would give someone if they wanted to like get into like real estate investing, but they haven't before? Like, what's a tip to get started?
For me, I would say I'd like to introduce you to my mentor.
Okay.
and the real estate investing community that I'm with, because it's a great community. They're there to just learn more and grow their business. I guess the first thing, once again, is take a pen to paper and write out what do you want from real estate investing. Much like you would take a look at your finances or any investing portfolio you have, whether it's $1,000 or whether it's $100,000. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to accomplish? And how do you feel about that? You know, I want to buy a single family and rent it out because it'll cash flow $200 a month to pay for my gas, because gas is crazy expensive now. Or to pay for my groceries every month. And it's like, good, then do it. Let's take a look at some single-family homes that are selling on the market right now. I know great realtors, and you probably have your own realtors or whatnot, and say it's like you want that cash-flowing asset because you want to pay for your groceries, or maybe you want to go into multifamily because you want to pay for your car and your groceries, or maybe you want that asset because you want to take your wife or your spouse, your partner, on a vacation more than once a year or once every 2 years, whatever it is. Like, I mean, that's a great portfolio. One thing to note here as well, though, is that most people in the financial advice industry, they don't get paid for giving you real estate investing advice. Okay, I want to make that absolutely clear, because they don't get paid on it, number one. Number two, actually, that's it. And you really have to value a person's time, because they're there to provide financial advice. And when you start to talk about a financial advisor about investing in real estate, whether you're going to the bank or whether you're going to a credit union or your family or friend who's getting started, you have to understand there's their craft. They know, they should know about life insurance, mutual funds, TFSAs, RESPs. They should know like the basics. And if you start to talk to them about real estate investing, you have to understand that that's their craft. It's like going to a Honda dealership and talking to them about the Toyota car you want to see across the street. I know it's going to help you, but it's like, that's the competition.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You mentioned two key things that I kind of took away from that, and one is like, begin with the end in mind. Like, before you jump in and do it, think of like, well, what's the end outcome? Like, what do you want to get out of it? Write it down, write down your goal, write down your intentions. And then the second thing that you mentioned there was just like connecting with the right people, There's a saying that I heard. Shout out to Jack Lee Matthews. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. And so connect up with the right people, whether it be to either to have as like either working as like potential clients or something like that, or even just like people that can help support you with your goals, support you with your journey, be a mentor, to be a coach to you, just connecting up with the right people. Yeah. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. I had a follow-up question, but it also is gone. I apologize, man. My brain is, like I said, this week's been going really fast for me, and I was starting to feel a little bit fried last night, and I still haven't shaken it off. So I'm not my usual sharp self. So my apologies for that one.
Don't worry, all good.
Awesome. Well, let's see. Where do we want to go with this? I just want to make sure that we kind of like hit all the things that I wanted to talk about today. Spoke about financial wellness.
Break out the pen and paper.
Yeah, exactly. Break out the pen.
It slows you down. It slows the thought process down. One thing, like, and it's not something I share with a lot of people. I like writing, and I like poetry. And one thing that I like a fellow friend who is going into writing and poetry and just writing, he told me, is like when you're writing, when the pen hits the paper, it slows you down. When you're on a keyboard, it's like a waterfall. So it's like, take the pen and paper, or do something with your finger in the sand. Like I remember playing with that in the sand. It slows you down. It paces you, and that's something that I'm trying to practice more, because I could be very malikot. My Lola would be like, "Oh, practice being so malikot, slow down," right? Because of all the sugar. Yeah. But like, once you start to slow down and let it flow, and let and here's the spiritual part: let the universe flow into you, whether you believe in God, Nirvana, whatever have you may be, just let it flow. There's a reason why, like, being in life insurance, we talk about time and death. It's a very morbid subject. Time's your companion. Time is saying, there's only so much more time for you to enjoy. Do you want to spend it complaining and thinking about all the problems, or do you want to look at the solutions? There's only so many things in life that really will hurt you and be so bad. And we focus a lot of our time on that. We listen to the news. We live in, that's living in fear. But there's so much to learn, to love, and appreciate. Wow, why are you spending all the time here? And that's where love thrives. That's where the light shines. And that's where fear has no place. Fear is there to tell you to keep yourself in check. But your heart, remember how it's talking about listen to your head, your heart, your gut? That's it. Fear is the language that tells you in the gut. It's like, I need to eat. I need to do this to survive. But listen to your heart in that regard, because like it'll light a passion. And your mind will tell you how to logistically play it all out. Because it's just, like time's a companion. And that like we need to appreciate the time we have, the people we have in our lives, the experiences we have. There's so many people who live in that dark spot. And for better or worse, the people who want to keep them there, they have no place in the good hearts of men, women, children, people alike. There's no place for people who put people down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate what you said there, because sometimes like there could be like one like small negative experience that happened, and I shouldn't say small. I mean, it could be big, but like short in terms of amount of time. Like maybe in passing, somebody says something negative to you, and it's like 15 seconds. but you carry that around with you for like hours, for like the rest of your day, right? Like, so I appreciate what you said there, because it's like, you know, why focus on that when we can, there's so much more that we could focus on. And I found that like a gratitude practice really helps with that, you know, just focusing helps you focus on all the things that you're grateful for instead of the negative things or the things that you're lacking. I wanted to kind of ask about like because you mentioned something about like writing, because like I was stuck, and I appreciate you for bailing me out there, because like my mind was stuck, and you're like, hey, write it down, you know, and just allow it to like flow through you. So like when you write, like, are you writing about your goals? Are you writing about like finances, or are you just like writing about anything?
When I have an idea that sparks me and I have a pen and paper on hand, I let it flow, and I do like a flow chart, because I want to see where is it that's going, because it's that gut feeling. It's like, this is important, and then that's the brain talking. It's telling me, okay, plot this out and analyze, and then, you know, take that scrap paper, throw it out, because like, if it's important, it's important. You'll remember it. Like you're talking about. If you forget something, it probably wasn't that important.
Yeah.
It's a natural brain function for human beings. If it's important, you'll remember it. If it's not, be careful, because you might wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's like, did I lock my doors? Did I do the laundry? Did I?
Yeah.
Like, it's important. Be careful what you back up, because once the system resets, it'll be like, blink. You know, it's those moments of epiphanies where it's like, it's important. How important is it?
Well, that's the thing. Like that's my fear. Like I think that like all of my thoughts are like important, and so I'm like, oh, if I forget a thought, like, oh man, I think it was important. Like how do I go back and remember it?
Let your brain do its thing. It's a natural flow. If you're hungry, your body will tell you when you're hungry or thirsty, you know. And it you know, a lot of rappers are like, you know, stay hungry but never thirsty.
Yeah, so. No, it's funny. And one of my friends likes to say that, because you know, talking about like remembering things, it's you know, he says it's always recording. Like our subconscious is always recording. It's always, so I mean, if we are meant to like remember something, like you said, it'll come back. Just like let it go. It'll naturally come back. Let it do its thing. Like it'll come back when it's meant to come back. Right. Yeah. Awesome, man. Well, we're almost at the end of the hour here. We'll start the descent of the conversation here. Did you have anything to add before we start the descent?
I guess going on the theme of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Everyone can do extraordinary things. Everyone has an underlying ability, and listen to it. And I go back to when I did my my talk at your event, and it's like, you gotta listen to your head, your heart, and your gut. Listen to your head, because it will talk very logically, very measured steps. Listen to your heart, because it's that passion, it's the thing you love. And listen to your gut, because it'll teach you to survive. And very often they don't talk the same language, and it can be very confusing. But it's those moments of truth where they all talk the same language, and that's that. And you know, without being too hokey, that's the universe calling to you. You have to answer it. You know, and for people, there's people who call that feeling God, or balancing with nirvana, or all those spiritual heavens. You know, the gods are smiling upon me. You know, Valhalla, and like the gods of all those things. Something's calling to you, and it makes sense. Listen to it, because that's your call to become extraordinary. Because there's going to be tons of people who will always tell you that you're just this, you're just that. You know, I guess, you know, with being respectful, of course, like, well, do they pay your rent? Do they put food on your table? Do they put clothes on your back? And why are you listening to them? Why are you listening to them? Why? Why? That person on the TV is telling you do this and do that. It's like, do you even know that person? Do they actually care for your well-being? Because I'm right here talking to you, and if you don't like what I'm saying, okay, I get it. So
Absolutely, brother. I appreciate what you said there around when you talk about like the head, the heart, your gut, and your hands. Like I'm a big advocate for that. I like to say your mind, your body, emotions, and your spirit. And when you can live into alignment with that, like there is just, I don't know, there's just so much power in that. I feel like if you can live in alignment with all four of those things in alignment, like it's almost like you start to live like effortlessly. Um, yeah, I don't know how else to explain it, but I strive to live that way every single day. That's why I have a morning routine. That's why I do meditation. That's why I listen to affirmations. Is I'm trying to bring all of those into alignment so that not only like my thoughts and my feelings are in a good place, but also like the actions that I take, just how I carry myself in every moment. I'm just looking for that alignment. So yeah, no, thank you for that. Thank you for that. So one of my closing questions that I like to ask everyone is if you had access to a billboard and you can write any message on it and you can put it anywhere in the world, what would you have on it, and where would you put it?
Where would I put it?
Yeah.
What I would want to put on it is, speak the words I am, and therefore you shall be. And I would put that on every corner, on every intersection that I
can. That's awesome. What is it? Speak the words I am, and
therefore you shall be.
And therefore you shall be. That is absolutely powerful. I was just talking about affirmations. There's I guess it could be said another way. I've heard it said another way. The words that follow I am follow you. And there's just so much powerful in those two words, I am. We were talking about like the subconscious mind and how it's always recording. It's always eavesdropping on you as well. So when it hears you say I am, and whatever it is that you put on it, that's what it's listening to. That's what it's that's what it's listening to, and that's how it's going to act. And so even like if you're joking around and saying like, oh, I'm not good at that, or I am, whatever it is, like if it's self-deprecating, even though you might think of it like as a joke, it actually is working against you. So I guess I share that. Just, hey, be aware. Your subconscious mind is constantly eavesdropping on you, and whatever you tell it is exactly what it's going to do. So empower yourself with the I am and something empowering. So anyway, thank you for that. You sparked that for me.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Awesome, brother. Just as a quick recap, how is it that you support people, and how can people get in contact with you?
Feel free to drop me a DM. Feel free to share my information for anyone that you feel would value like a conversation. Consultations are free. The first consultation is free because at the end of the day, my services are they're based upon if I could provide a service. Because I want to be respectful of people's time. And once again, it's like it's like dating. It's like, do you like me? Do we want to spend more time? And no money, because now we can go virtual. It's like, just shoot me a line and we can hop on Zoom. I prefer phone calls, but if people want to see my face, and if I'm in my car or something, then sure, we can FaceTime. Well, I have an Android, so I can't FaceTime, but I can definitely hop on Instagram or anything to that effect.
Cool.
That's my alarm there.
Cool. And what can people expect for the consultation, or why would somebody reach out to you for a consultation?
If they ever want to learn about, if they have any insurance questions in any line of insurance, if they're happy with their broker, not happy, and they just want to learn more, feel free to drop me a line or send me a message. If they want to talk about financial planning, I can definitely give you a lot of the, I can help assess where where we should be directing your goal. Because if someone comes to me and says, I want to make more money, or I want to get my finances in control, I have a very good. I'm 100% confident that I can add value there. If someone wants to talk about real estate investing, drop me anything, because I'll geek out on that stuff. I'll geek out on insurance. I'll geek out on like future planning for insurance, because there's so much things that it can do other than just provide for your family. But the real estate investing, we'll geek out on that, and I'll be like, hey, come and meet my friends because they're cool, and we'll play video games together, kind of deal.
Yeah, nice.
It's like, what's your tagger? What's your username? We'll hop on Twitch and play or whatever. I don't even do. I know it's Twitch now, but like how on Nintendo Wii there's the Wii World where you can, it's something I geek out on, where it's like, let's talk about real estate investing. Let's just, that's the stuff. That's the neat stuff to talk about.
Awesome. We'll connect up with Rex for that. Follow him at Rex_Masesar. Any final thoughts before we close out here?
No. Thank you very much for having me, Mike. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate you being a guest on the podcast here. Thank you for all the support over the past couple of years, speaking at the conference and just like everything that you've done and supported in the past. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, we're still building, brother. Like we're still in the runway, or maybe we're still in the hangar. I don't know.
Still growing, still learning and growing.
You're the project manager there. I'll follow your lead. Tell me what you want to do. And oh, you need this? Okay, let's do this. I think that guy can do it. I'm pretty sure that guy can do it. Tell me where you want to go.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I always appreciate you. Thank you again, and I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and wisdom with people. And thanks for making the time today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome.
No problem.
Awesome. Well, again, make sure to follow Rex, REX_MASESAR. Follow myself as well, MBE Learning 1, if you aren't already following. And remember, if you can learn anything, you can do anything. Anyway, take care, everyone, and I love you all. All right. Peace out, brother.
Peace.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Check out these other awesome videos, and we'll see you next time.